tech isn't the problem, data is. So every single client that we talk to, disparate systems across various from finance and accounting to customer success to sales. There's so many different systems at play and that are feeding into the financial framework. So there are a lot of conflicting systems. So that is one of the major issues. And there's a lot of manual reconciliations. Unfortunately, Excel still the best friend of the accountant. Hopefully that will change in the coming years, and it will change in the coming years. And really, how do you define what the right KPIs for the business, because there's just so much noise in the system, and this is about eliminating the noise and focusing on the signal, as I mentioned before. So many companies are trying to solve financial problems with technology, and we've seen actually many companies that are really early adopters. Some got it right, but there were more companies that got it wrong due to pressure from boards and so on to implement AI on systems that we're just not ready for it. And it's, the old adage is garbage in, garbage out. So we've seen a lot of that where, you know, a lot of companies are having to remediate what they've done, and they spent significant amounts of money and really trying to figure out like where the data flows are and really change the way in terms of where the data flows and how decisions are made. So it's almost revamping the decision making framework of the business and determining what systems should flow and where the controls are. And that is really the key. So understanding what systems are there, documenting the SOPs, understanding can those SOPs help us to actually determine whether they can be better information flows, and then being able to use AI on top of that to capture it once that foundation is laid. But if that foundation is not laid right, AI is not going to be helpful. So where finance teams really struggle the most, just based on polling some of our clients, and this is more anecdotes than anything else, but this is where we see forecast accuracy is a big challenge. And if you're a public company and your forecast accuracy is off, that could significantly impact your share price if it is that you're sending the wrong message to the market. Again, working capital visibility. This has always been a challenge for companies, but more so now where cash is king and there's, cash flow has been king, sorry, but there's just more challenges facing businesses, and you want to understand where your working capital is at and how can you deploy that working capital to benefit the shareholders in the best way possible and all the stakeholders. So the visibility of working capital is key. And then reporting speed. Many companies are still reporting within a 5 to 7 day timeline. Some are at 3, some are at 2, but the majority are wanting to get to like almost an instant close, and that is the expectation of, again, the stakeholders in the business, the CEO, the boards, to be able to say, you have the technology, you have the foundation, let's get that done faster so we can actually be more competitive. So in the marketplace. And really decision confidence, because if you have the right level of data coming through, you can make the right decisions, but sometimes there's not a lot of confidence that the data streams are correct, and that is potentially an issue. So let's talk about what we've seen work. So improving executive reporting. So this is more of like a sponsorship thing where you have executives in the business that are actually wanting the change. So what we're finding is that there's this change that we're embarking on in terms of a technological journey or data journey, and modernization journey is really around sponsorship. So if we have the right sponsorship in your environment and in our clients' environments, things tend to go better quicker. And what I mean by that is you get the right level of budget, you get the right level of sponsorship, and you get the right level of pull through. And even when things go wrong, there's still a desire to make that change and ensure that change is being implemented in the right way and the teams have the support. So if you can get that right, so I'll give you an example. We were helping a client where they're wanting to implement AI, but we're trying to figure out the use cases for them. And one of the use cases was not in finance; it was actually in their sales business, and was actually getting them to reduce their proposal times, which significantly added more capacity to do more proposal, which, if you multiply that by a close ratio, actually added real revenue coming to the business. So start with the early wins, and the executive team would buy into that very quickly. Strengthening forecasting and planning scenario. Again, that is really what, you have a foundation of, like as finance professionals, and we want to be able to get to the stage where we're adding real value to the business. And then automating high effort manual reporting. As I mentioned before, a lot of people are, if they can't get their data right, they're starting to nearshore that stuff and using nearshoring providers such as Vaco as an example to be able to help them take them on a technological journey, lift and shift, and then through manage through the change to be able to become more efficient with less bodies. So kind of working backwards, if you look at it, data is the focus, focusing on systems, and then having the right talent to be able to run those systems. So the finance function of the future really would rely on data foundations. So data, we hear a lot about data, but actually it is so, and I didn't really fully get a grasp and understand this until I started working with clients in this capacity. And but data is the foundation. And if you can drive the right level of insights from it, you can create real value for companies, followed by technological enablement, followed by analytical finance talent. So we're at the polling question. So the question is, what is redefining how finance organizations are built today? Is it stability? Is it adaptability? Is it growth or predictability? Um, so as you can see, I think it's the majority says adaptability. So we have 58% of the audience are saying adaptability, and I think all may be right to a certain extent, just based on the lens that you're looking through. But I think if you look at the really core of it, it is adaptability in terms of transforming the business and adapting into something different.